People have asked me for years, how did you learn to work on cars? I never had a ready answer, but when I think back, it all started at a young age with a little red toolbox that had the basic tools one might need to get any job done, like fixing my bike chain in order to get to a neighbor's house for a pickup baseball game. So I did what made sense to make it all happen at the time. As with a lot of things as you grow older, my bike was retired and cars slowly took over. I can remember a good friend muttering to me as he helped me change my oil for the first time. "Jonas, cars are only nuts and bolts. That's all there is to working on cars." That sentiment runs through my head on repeat every time I pull my wrenches out to start a new project. Nuts and bolts. Well, it's sometimes more than that. Bigger nuts and bigger bolts. How does one know what wrenches to use? Wrenches come in all flavors, and sometimes it's rough to know which ones you need to get a job done. But just like anything else, practicing makes things easier. With practice comes mistakes, broken tools, buying the wrong tools, buying cheap tools. But always remember this old phrase, when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Don't buy cheap tools. Well, you know what they say, tools are acquired over time. What I've learned is that each tool has its purpose, and I've also learned that on FJ60s, there's a handful of tools that if you have them, you can accomplish most jobs around the platform. Little did I know that small red toolbox I had as a kid, filled with a screwdriver, a ratchet, 8 to 17 millimeter sockets, and the same set of box wrench sizes, was all you ever needed. Since the small red toolbox, I've upgraded to a 301 piece set of tools. But honestly, the small toolbox lives on in my head as the box that can fix anything. Let's hope working on this FJ55 is that easy. All I need to do is keep playing back in my head, it's only nuts and bolts. Yep, the truck's still sitting in the same spot. It's probably because I couldn't run it for very long. She ran out of gas and there's no cooling system. So I had to talk to some friends on the Facebook and pick up some parts. And this box housed the water pump pulley and fan that I need to get the cooling system going. When you look in the radiator, it's extremely dirty and dry. So we're gonna go ahead and put these things on, get a belt on there, and put some water through the radiator and clean it out. So that starts now. We got a fan and water pump. Now we just need to hook up this 30-year-old belt and see if the alternator works and everything spins. So I'm gonna do the right thing and fill this gas tank up again and mount it on the factory AC bracket right there instead of actually cleaning out the tank and doing it right. So we can move this thing. Got the battery all in. Don't worry, we got a twine battery hold down right there. That's what the professionals use, come on. Those master cylinders and slave cylinders just got archived. Heck yeah. So So after looking at the radiator and seeing all the garbage in there, I was under the impression that this didn't have any water in it, but it looks like it still has some coolant. So we are gonna go ahead and disconnect this hose down here and put some new stuff in and still run some water through to clean out the system. Going ahead and putting the hose back on. Looks like the flow test with the water and hose checked out beautifully. So radiator isn't stopped up. All right, got some water in there. Let's see this thing roll around. Like my key, everyone? We got the thermostat to open, that's good. Radiator's cooling. We're gonna check that the alternator's charging. So let's put this on the battery. Looks like it's holding at 13. Heck yeah. Thing on a victory lap here. Truck has been on the road since 1995, and it's not going to be until all this stuff is cleared out of the back. It's just become a storage unit for the last several months. Cleaning out this old girl, trying to see what we really have here. Look at the front seat here. It's just really in there, really for my comfort. So before, this truck sat on the actual bracket of the seat on the ground. So I actually had these from a truck that we had parted out, my buddy Glenn and I. So I was able to put this in. From what I understand, this is actually a very popular modification where people cut these seat brackets out and put bucket seats. I know there was buckets in here because, as you can see, there's a wood bracket right here that would have attached to this one. So buckets at some point, kind of cool, but I'm gonna try to get that welded back in and get this seat all back together. This is a really good safety feature here. Taking your fuses and wrapping them in aluminum, just so they work, or if they trip, they actually can never trip because the connection's always there. Sounds like a fire hazard to me. Headlights look pretty bare. It's
because there's no bezel for them, but I have a set that we're gonna put on and get it to where it needs to be and look right.
Gonna pull this thing into the bay to do some gas tank stuff to it, because that stuff looks like varnish.
Here we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, man. Look at that. That looks like awesome gas. From 1973.
So I'm over here having an excellent day working on the 55, and we get the tank out. The gas is disgusting. And then we look inside the tank. We're trying to clean it out.
I don't know if anybody can see in there,
but it's destroyed. So my hopes of putting that tank in and running it off the tank are over for the day. So if anybody has one or knows where I can get one made, leave a comment below. I'd really appreciate it, because kind of a stopping point for the 55 right now. Dang. So our stopping point last week with that gas tank and the unfortunate occurrence that it's rusted inside has really put a roadblock in this project, but we are prevailing. There are plenty of other little things that need to be done on this thing, obviously. One thing that we're gonna tackle today is getting a rear tailgate on this girl. It's crunched in, there's no window glass, but I'm fortunate enough to have an extra used one that we're gonna slap on there. But they're kind of difficult to get off, so that means torching it and trying to drill out those bolts to get her back on. Then we're gonna tackle some of the interior, try to clean it up a little bit, maybe mess with some of the fuses to try to get the lights working. So we use our favorite key and pull her up to the shop and get started. I just inquired this new fuse block, quote unquote, new, from the Capital Landcruiser swap meet over the weekend. So all of those aluminum wrapped ones are gonna be replaced. I'm gonna try to just do the whole fuse block and see what happens here. So it looks like these fuses got a little hot. You can see this is the old connector that has melted out, as well as the one in the back here. So really not sure what's going on there, but it does not give me warm and fuzzies. We got a new fuse block on. Gonna check some lights. The headlight. Awesome. Got that tailgate all taken off. That is always a battle,
just because the screws are stuck. We had to use the torch to heat them all the way up till they were red, and then they finally turned out. So got the new one on, as you saw, and now we're gonna have to work on putting that window motor back in, but that's gonna be at a later date. I just wanted to be able to have the ability to seal it all up. The next thing we're gonna tackle is getting this lower seat bottom end. As you can see, this one back here is game over. So we're gonna get that all switched out, which is just these little bolts here. Looks like a little cotter key, and it will come out. But before we start doing anything else, we have to vacuum this stuff up, because I'm not gonna go ahead and work around this stuff. So let's get to it. So I figured, since I have everything out of it, I have some rubber mats for this old girl. So I did go ahead and vacuum what I could. We will have to clean out a lot more, but let's at least give her a little bit more of a facelift and put the front guy in. We got the rear right here, and we got the center section right here. So let's give her some love. Look at the world of difference black mat set does to one of these trucks. That's incredible. So that's gonna do it for this week's episode. I think this girl has come a long way since I got her running last week. Let's be honest, she's got tire shine now, so the project's complete. No, I'm serious. This is gonna be a long-term project. It's not gonna be like my FJ60 and 62 builds. I'm gonna try to get this truck right. I want it to drive from A to B comfortably, and trust me, it's got a long way before it can get to that point. Moving forward, I am gonna be working on a truck that I've kind of been keeping on the back burner. It's a gold 1985 FJ60. We are going to be diving into that next week. So subscribe to the channel so you know when that video comes out. Like and share these videos as it keeps me motivated to keep on getting these old girls back on the road. Cheers, and we'll see you next week.